Pulp MX Network production.
Welcome to the Troy Lee Designs and Racetech Suspension and Engines Blair Matthes Project.
Yeah, welcome everybody to another edition of the Troy Lee Designs Racetech Blair Matthes Project, WSX edition. But we're going to talk a little bit of Ivan Tedesco. We're going to talk a little bit of Chase Sexton. We're going to look ahead to Paris Supercross also, but a lot of WSX round because, yeah, my co-host Daniel Blair just really got back from there, part of the broadcast team from there, down there in Argentina. But thank you to Troy Lee Designs for making this happen. Update on my custom helmet. Went back and forth with Mark at Troy Lee over the designs, and it is in production. I should be getting it soon. Can't wait to have myself a very own painted Troy Lee Designs painted helmet. So thank you to those guys for making that happen. But if you want to save it, troyleedesigns.com. Email us using the contact form on Pulp. We will send you a code to save at TLD. Great gear, right? Ferrandis, Barsha, many more. Who can forget Ernesto Fonseca racking up podiums with TLD gear back in the day. Mountain bike stuff's phenomenal as well. So save with the code by simply emailing us on pulpmx.com, and you can save with those guys. Racetech as well. Our guy Checker's doing great things at Racetech. Rob Brown as well. They updated their valving for the gold valves, and they're doing a really good job down there at racetech.com, making your motorcycle work better. Engine work, suspension work, all of it. Their suspension and motor seminars are going on now. Racetech.com for more information. Zool's, Seat Concepts, Firepower, ASV Levers, Decal Works, Maxxis, Alpine Stars, Stomp Grip, all on board with us. We got codes to save with all those guys, which we'll tell you more about later on. But yes, I'm Steve Matthes. With me, fresh off the boat from Argentina, it's the Daniel Blair. What's up, DB?
I'm just hanging in there, bro. Just hanging. I'm on absolute fumes and headed to the next one tomorrow morning in Vancouver, 6 a.m. flight. So, yeah, back on the grind, but it's an international grind, which is like way harder one round in.
A little different. I went to Vancouver last year. It's a great city, great stadium. You'll love it. Also producing this show is The Fraud, a.k.a. Kellen Brower. What's up, KB?
Oh, just frauding it up over here, as per usual.
Also start your systems as well. Daniel's, is it just me, or is Daniel's camera all blurry, or is that just me and my look?
No, I think he looks fine.
Okay, all right.
I would say this is a way different look. I'm actually at home. I'm in my home office, so
you don't look like you're in a prisoner or in a sauna.
I'm not in the sauna, so yeah. Maybe you're just confused over the beautification of my actual backdrop. So.
All right, let's get into this. WSX Round 1 kicks off. Argentina. Crowd looked into it. I liked the track. It wasn't super difficult. Whoops were tough, but other than that, it was pretty basic track. The whole racing I thought was kind of meh, but whatever. I mean, there's plenty of nights in American Supercross where the racing is meh, but there's still lots to talk about. First of all, Daniel, crowd, atmosphere, riders, all of that seemed to be very, very good. It was a successful round 1 if you go off, ticket sales / buzz / everything worked okay. All of that. I think the format was fine. I got a few quibbles with it, but yeah, I think it was a success.
I do too. I've never been to one of these, so this was my first one, and I didn't have anything to really gauge it off of, but Tony Alessi told me before I got on the flight home that this was overall probably the best one as far as the way it was ran, the crowd, and just the entire thing all wrapped into one, because there's a lot of variables with this series, obviously, when it's going nation to nation and dealing with different governments and different promoters. And being down there, which was obviously, I think, difficult for them to pull off the way they did, he said it was probably the best one they've had overall. So that's a positive to start. The meh on the racing, I think you could blame Max Anstey and Ken Roczen, because look, we want a battle for the win. That's what you always want. And there's battles in fifth. Those are cool. But the battle for the win is what you want. You want that kind of dramatic moment. And they didn't give it to us because they were really better than everybody else in their class. So I think that was probably what was more responsible for the so-so racing. But 250 final moto was a crazy 4-rider battle. Hayden's first ride from last was good. So I think inside of it, there was a lot of cool racing going on. But you kind of want that win to come down to the wire. And Kenny and Max just killed them, dude. They were just way better from top to bottom.
I think if you told me, DB, that Ken Roczen and Max Anstey were going to win round 1 of WSX, I would have said sure, but I did not think either one would win it as dominant as they were. Like you said, just see you later. I didn't have those guys winning it that easily, quote unquote.
I didn't either. And the reason why is because of the track, but I'll get to the whoops in a second. But when I walked the track, I was like, ooh, this is pretty simple. It's got weird jump faces. The distances were way different, which I like. I want it different. I don't want to see the same thing I've seen 100 times. I want to see something a little unique, so the riders have to be challenged. But I thought it would kind of equalize everybody because it was somewhat simple. The reason why it didn't is because the whoops were gnarly, like really, really gnarly. The first session, I mean, they did knock them down even after the first one because they were big, long, hard, and honestly, Kenny and Max were the best. They were the best in their class, and they both hole shot. So if you hole shot, and then there's big whoops as the only separator, and they're the only guys that were really just straight murdering the whoops, you get what you get. So the track, I think, would have been an equalizer without the whoops. And then again, their starts were, other than Kenny had one moto, I think Moto 2, he had to pass a couple guys, which he did right away. I mean, it took him like a lap and a half. But other than that, they were just better and they started better. So, but the environment, dude, it was rad. And I got to start with this. The fans down there, I mean, they're obviously getting the most out of this, right? Everyone watching on the broadcast, it's racing in the fall and into the winter. That's super cool. But the local fans get to see something that they don't ever get to see. I mean, they get to see GPs down there, but not Supercross. And Kristen Beat and I actually had to get dropped off from our Uber a mile from the stadium because the roads were just packed with cars, people, traffic. And the fans were there from the minute the gate opened. It was full. The stadium was full for practice, and they never left. It was just like the whole show was one big, long show. So they were rewarded in a pretty cool event that I think would be considered a success live for sure. I mean, the fans, the pit area. So for Argentina, it was absolutely banging for them. And I think that's ultimately who you're trying to satisfy here kind of early in this thing.
I will say it didn't matter to me from my couch in Vegas, but it did seem like a long ass day for the teams and riders.
Different format. And yeah. I wasn't prepared for that all the way. And what they do is they do a free practice first, and you kind of get like this warm up. And for some riders, it was like making sure the bikes were right because they're all in crates. So it's like making sure it's right. Then there's a long gap, but then practice 2 goes right into qualifying, which goes right into Super Pole. And then there's a little break and then they race. So it's just a super early start, then a gap, and then it kind of runs long. So overall time, it's not much different. Mm-hmm. There's just a fat gap between the first 2 practices, which made it feel really long because you're essentially working at that point. But overall time, it's about the same. Just they just piece it together differently, and only one qualifier. Where in the U.S. you have 1 free, 2 qualifiers.
2.
Here it's 2 frees, 1 qualifier, and then they had that Super Pole right after for the top 4. So just different.
Maxxis, thanks to Maxxis Tires, guys. Mitchell Harrison doing a great job with Maxxis, and great mountain bike tires as well. I run the Minions for out here in Vegas. Maxxis.com for more information on those guys. I want to thank the folks at Alpine Stars as well. The Tech Air is out. Love this thing. I've got it myself. It's really, really innovative. If you're into the street bike racing world, then you've seen this thing for a while. But they've got it out for Moto now, and it's available to order at any kind of online retailer like Motorsport or whoever. And yeah, listen to the Pulp Show a couple weeks ago when we had Alpine Star guy in there talking, Brent from Alpine Stars, talking about it. Really, really cool deal. It's out now. Alpine Star Tech Air, Alpine Stars Protects. A thank you to the folks at Firepower as well. Great stands, great loading ramps, Daniel. Also, as you know, firepowerparts.com. Club MX guys using Firepower products. They've got some really cool stuff coming as well from the folks at Firepower. So please check that out as well. All right, DB, round 1 WSX. They dropped the super final thing that they had last year. Do you anticipate after round 1? Because one thing these guys have been is pretty reactive to changing things. They do talk to the managers and the owners and the riders. And do you anticipate program changing for round 2 or 3 or anything that sort of happened that guys didn't like or they want to do better or more of?
I don't know. I was on the TV side the whole event, so I know on that side there'll be little changes all the way through the first 5. I mean, there's the 5, not the first 5. There's a lot of changes because it's a new production company, so each week will be a little bit different, even with the people that are coming in. So that'll change. But on the racing side, I don't know. I didn't really hear anything dramatic like that, and I know they had some challenges with water and different things like that. Just because, again, this is a mobile series that comes out of crates. So I think that there was some unique things that they have to fix on the logistics side. But format wise, I didn't hear any real dislike for it. I think the riders liked it. I think some of the fans wanted the racing a little bit longer, which I understand. But the idea is that the first two are sprint races, more like heats with half points. And then the last one's a main. And I don't think they want to overwhelm with the laps too. Like, I don't think they want to like make it a long drawn out race. They want to make them kind of quick and exciting and impactful. So I didn't hear any real pushback on the racing side of things. Just, I know logistically they're going from country to country. They've already been to Vancouver, so this one will be probably easier. Argentina, dude, it was honestly tough. Like, I mean, they had to build that place out of nothing pretty much where it was. And I think logistically they had to really, really pull off somewhat of a miracle, even on the TV side. I know we'll get to it. And they did it. And I think this was like we got through this one. It's going to get a little easier from here. So overall positive though. Like you said, it was received well on site, and the riders and teams were all stoked. They were all happy. They took it in. It was kind of a vacation. Everyone was, I mean, we went on a tour bus. All the riders were on a tour bus together going through town. They all went, some of them went horseback riding. Justin Cooper almost fell off a horse, which would have been, I mean, could you imagine,
Yeah.
Breaking
Bobby,
news. We lost Jay Coop to
Bobby
a horse.
Reagan. Jay Coop's out. Yeah, we lost him in a horse.
Yeah. So they took it in, and all the riders had their wives and stuff. So to me, it was like the ultimate like rad trip with some dirt bike racing, and they all seemed to dig it.
Kellen, the WSX payroll guy, said everyone loved WSX. So just mark that down. I'm bugging you, DB. I'm
telling you what I know, and it was good. It was good.
I'm still going to give you shit, Daniel. Kellen, what did you think of? And we'll get to the TV stuff and all that, and Stark and everything else. But Kellen,
and
format-wise,
your BS
and my
tweet.
BS tweet. Yep. Kellen, format-wise, 2 sprint, 1 longer main. They did them a couple of years back to back, and no one like that. They fixed that idea. But Kellen, what do you think of the format of like 3 basic main events, Triple Crown-ish?
Yeah, I like it for the fact that it does feel basically exactly like a Triple Crown, and I love that they have Super Pole. That's always one thing that I've kind of lobbied for, wanting to see something of that in the U.S. The one thing I will say is that, like, in terms of rider reaction post-race, everything that I listened to was most of the guys said they wish they could change their gate, because you select your gate and then you're stuck with it all throughout the entire night show, which obviously that was the biggest thing that affected Deegan. But other guys were also saying, like, I wish I could have moved one inside after I started in that spot or whatever. So I think if from a rider standpoint, if there's any changes, that's one thing I could point to as they would maybe want. But otherwise, I thought the format looked cool and it flowed pretty well throughout the night too.
And I'll back that up. I'll back that up too. That was not received well, especially by Hayden Deegan and his camp, because of things we'll get into.
Can you take us through what happened with his missed gate pick? Yeah.
So they do this pre-gate pick thing where you pick your gate for the night. And as Kellen said, that's different. And I didn't really know that until it all happened, because I was like, why is he out there again? So I actually didn't know that was happening again. I thought it was just for the first one, which is a little bit weird, because essentially then whatever you qualify, you're stuck. Like Cody Schock had a sound check issue and he lost 5 spots. And then he was like way outside the whole night. So essentially your night is kind of screwed if the start is kind of screwy for the outside guys, which it was. So I don't think they all like that, and I don't know if I like that either. But with Deegan, what happened was he wasn't there for his gate pick when they were all there to pick their spot. And since he didn't pick his spot, he essentially got last pick, which was 16, and he's locked into 16 now for the rest of the night. And, I talked to actually some DMs back and forth with Brian, and Brian's like, man, if I was there, I would have known that, because I think Brian's probably more observant in the crew, and Brian wasn't there. Hayden was there without Dad, which.
Well, it falls on the manager. They had to have a manager there, right? Or was it literally just Duff and Hayden? There
was a manager there, Steve. Good friend of yours. Now, I don't know if it falls exactly on him, but there was a
of course it
friend
does.
of yours.
Who?
It rhymes with Schmilschmer.
Wilbur
was there.
Yeah, it falls on Wilbur, and he would know that. I mean, that's
Anstey didn't miss his pick 1. Now he wasn't Super Bowl, so it was kind of easy to pick 1. But he was there for his gate pick, and Hayden was not. So I don't know who's to blame all the way. Yeah. But somebody didn't
ultimately it falls on Will. It doesn't fall on Hayden, in my opinion, or fall on Duff. It falls on Will to be like, look, man, you got to be there. We got to go. Duff, someone's got to go.
Well, Duff was online defending himself. He's like, I'm the mechanic, dude. Like, what are you talking about? So, but Brian did tell me, he's like, if I was there, I'd have been standing there the whole night trying to figure out what was going on, and he would have. So, so Hayden ended up getting screwed by that, which, in my honest opinion, it was maybe one of the better things that happened to him, because it immediately kind of threw the whole night out the window for him and put him in a spot where he was only going to charge from way back. And if we're talking about pressure, which he went there with no pressure, he was like throwing whips and just having a good time. But the industry is watching every move that kid makes, because that's what happens when you're Hayden Deegan or Jet Lawrence. The eyes are on everything you do. And I think people wanted to see what he would do in this first one. And if he would have been at the gate, 4th, 5th, 6th gate pick, whatever, then it would have been a straight up legitimate, let's see how you do. But he started on the farthest out gate every single moto on a start that was terrible for that. And it kind of eased the pressure, and it put him in a spot where he just came from the back and, rode his butt off. And then we got to see what he could do through the field. So to me, it took the pressure away of having to win and really just it freed it up for him. So I don't know if he likes to hear this or if they like to hear this, but it was probably for his own benefit that he didn't have to go and compete from a normal gate. It took the pressure off.
There was some big debates in a group text about how he did. I think Kellen was in one of those groups, but I just thought he said good. A couple people pushed back and said it was not good. And I was like, well, in my rankings, it's awesome, and then very good, then below average, and then terrible. Let's say there's those 5 rankings, right? And I think he was good. I don't think he was awesome. He had the 3rd fastest lap in the last race, 4th fastest in the second race. Yeah, I mean, it was good. Could have been better, but I mean, look, the depth isn't there, so him ripping through the pack isn't that impressive. But I still give him like a passing grade. He was good.
Whoever said it's not good is crazy, and they're only judging that against Jet, because Jet has been like the outlier freakazoid, right? He won the first Motocross of Nations race he was ever in.
Okay, let me tell you this. The pushback from this person, sorry to interrupt you, Daniel, but the pushback from this person was like, do you think Kenny is going to, be up front in 2026 and win, be on the podium all the time? To which I would say probably not. He'll win some races. He'll have his good rides, but it's Kenny. And this person's like, well, there you go. Kenny waxed him.
Okay. Like, all right. Fair. Kenny is an A- rider in Monster Energy Supercross. He's A+ in international racing. I mean, that was phenomenal. One of the best Kenny rides I've seen, and I've seen 20 like that, and a lot of them come international. So no, to me over there, he wasn't going to touch Ken Roczen no matter what. I mean, that was like as good as it gets almost. But Justin Cooper, who was right in front of him, and even in the first moto, Jay Coop passed him. Hayden actually passed him back and beat him. That's the same guy who last year was all over Cooper Webb and Chase Sexton at the end of the season. So that's another mark you can go off of for another guy who's never raced 450 International Supercross and was your number 1 SMX qualifier last year. So no, it's whatever you compare him to. If you compare him to Jet, then yeah, it was terrible, because Jet won his first outdoor season, perfect season. He won his first ever 450 Supercross. He won the championship, but Jet's a freak. But compared to reality, it was really good. I mean, he was the 3rd best guy there, and he was very close to Justin Cooper, who again was really good at the end of last year's Supercross with Sexton and Webb. So no, and I don't think you can judge the overall so simply. You have to look at like the little individual moments. He didn't really do anything bad. There's not one thing you could think, oh, well, that was bad or that was dumb. He blitzed through the pack in one of them. He got a good start in the last one and got a solid 3rd. He was really solid in the whoops. And honestly, it was like I agree with you 100%. It was not amazing. It was just really good. And I think that's exactly where it should be right now in his first one as a teenager. Again, probably a year early, as you would say. He probably needs another year at 250 Supercross. If that's the truth, then he's a whole year early than what he should. And that's pretty dang good if you're a year early.
Kellen, I think you're with me, Kellen, on his debut.
Yeah, I thought that, like, in a way, that's exactly how it should have gone. If he was over the top and doing, like, amazing things right away, they would almost put the cart in front of the horse a little bit of everyone saying, like, oh, well, then why would you go back to a 250? Just stay on a 450. You're stupid if you go back down. And if you went back down, everyone would just talk about this. So then coming out here and just being solid and putting in good laps and not crashing and being consistent, is exactly what he should have done, and I think that he nailed that to a T. And he also said that to Lewis, he said this is kind of like a vacation race. Like, he's not really taking it like super seriously or anything like that. So I think once you get into the lockdown Deegs mode on a 450, you'll see a different version of him already.
I would say that might have helped him. Again, no dad there, first time leaving the country. The relaxed atmosphere and the pressure off, I think, is one of the reasons why it went that way. If there was heavy pressure, there's a good chance it goes worse.
He did get fortunate. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm just saying, to Kellen's point, I actually think that helped ease the mood a little bit, and that's why he was able to ride kind of loose, and he was throwing whips off everything. He was playing around a lot. So, again, nothing amazing to come home and go, oh, my God, Deegs, but super, super solid. Just solid to start.
I mean, obviously he had the gate pick thing to deal with, but I did think Savacci and Craig were maybe a little better, and he did get fortunate to get third. Savacci crashed off the start in the final one. I thought Joey was better than Hayden, but third is third, whatever. If he doesn't get third, he gets fourth, All right, before we get into the team.
Hold on. I will say, though, this is the first one where it's like, let's just see how it goes. Unique track, kind of weird. Like you said, the competition, the real test comes in Australia. That's where the test is always going to been for this thing, because he'll get Tomac. He'll, of course, get Roxon and Anderson again, and Savacci and Craig, and he'll get Webb. So if you're actually looking at where the real test in this whole 450 thing, it comes in Australia, which is going to be in a bigger stadium, more traditional. You're going up against 3 former champs plus Kenny. I think that's the one where we can actually look at him through a microscope and go, okay, is this good enough to keep going, or is he not there yet? But Buenos Aires to me was just a glimpse race, really. And to your point, Steve, for a glimpse race, it was just really, really good.
I want to thank the folks at Seat Concepts. Ride the world with them. Pulp 25 to save 15% off. They support Factory Beta, Phoenix Racing, and Pro Yamaha. All things seats at Seats Concepts. If you're into the venture touring thing, these guys are the ones to deal with. They've been involved in that industry, part of the motorcycling industry, for a long, long time. They've been saving assets since 2009, from the Race 2.0 to the Comfort Series. Seat Concepts, Pulp 25 code to save. Pulp 25 code also saves you at Zool's bags, backpacks, roller gear bags, travel bags, all of it. They're on board with all things bags. Zool's, they've got you covered. Taking the kids to sporting events, traveling for a living, like some of us do on this podcast, or moto stuff. They also help out Zach Osborne, Trey Kennard, Triumph guys, Phoenix guys. ZULZBagco.com, Pulp 25 code to save at Zool's Bagco, and Seat Concept as well. Thank you to those guys for coming on board. All right, Daniel, one rider from 450s and 250s, one rider from 250, one rider from 450 that surprised you, positively or negatively?
Let's go Craig on the positive.
Positive, yeah.
It didn't work itself out perfectly. The last race wasn't that great, which a little shout out to Devin Simonson too. He was by far the best of that next group, and he actually was pretty close to Christian in the last one. But overall, Christian looked good again. And honestly, when he was done with the 250s and he went to Husky 450, he never really looked right. And then when he went to Star, he was injured. I mean, we didn't even really get to see him that much. I don't even remember seeing him. So his whole, since his 250 title, he's completely been washed out all the way. This looked like Christian again. Again, the results don't match what it looked like. He looked comfortable, happy, flowy, his kind of really sick self. And so for me, visually, I would say Christian was good. And I believe he's racing all of Supercross for that team too, I think. So
yeah.
I feel like he's going to have a pretty sneaky good year. That doesn't mean he's going to light the world on fire, but I think we'll see a good Christian again. Using your chart, right? Your chart of, he's going to be pretty good this year, because it was pretty evident right away that he's comfortable, and it looks like.
And look, it didn't matter for anything, but I guarantee you, it mattered to Christian Craig that he was number one in the free practice.
Which is funny because the track was odd and kind of a little weird, and usually in that situation, the more talented riders will pick that up quicker. It doesn't take them very long to figure it out. And he was right away, within first or second lap. And that's when the whoops were at their worst. They were the biggest, gnarliest in that one, and he was unreal in them. So no, that wasn't a surprise either. And then Hayden, I think, was fastest in the second one. But then in the real qualifying came out, Hayden wasn't as good, and that's when Kenny and Jay Coop, and Jason, like they all got it together by the real one. And Hayden, I think he was overriding that one bad, like blowing out berms and clutching in front. I mean, that was probably his worst ride of the entire trip. But Christian would be the positive, and Devin Simonson, shout out to him too. He was really good. And then SX2, I mean, man, Hicks probably on the Stark. Like, I know we're going to get into this, but I think he got DQ'd for that ride. I don't know the details. I think you do. But that second race, he was pretty good. Like he was up there with those guys, battling with Shane and kind of Max for a minute. And Hicks is not really like kind of a big stage guy yet. He's always been good in arena cross, but then on the big stage kind of just gets buried in. But he was up front and looked the part. He was in the Super Pole. So I'd say Hicks probably shocked me a little bit in the SX2.
I was going to say the big nothing burger was Stark. Like Vince, all this Vince talk, and we were guilty of it also, but his first lap crash just kind of knocked the wind out of his sails. Hicks gets DQ'd, but has a couple of good rides. But I like the Starks being involved. I think it's awesome. There's a little bit of politics in play with them not being accepted by the OEMs. They got to write a check, and maybe they don't want to, and whatever. I think MX Sports should let them race Loretta's 100%. In the non-displacement classes. But anyways, that was kind of a nothing burger in the end. Ralph loved to talk about it, but yeah.
They got a lot of press, I'll say that. And it ended up being a pretty much, like you said, big nothing burger of a weekend. Vince was obviously overhyped. I'm guilty of that too, just because the simple math told me Starks are incredible on starts. Vince is an incredible starter. And there's going to be big giant whoops, which means he's going to be out front and these guys are going to go through him. And then we'll see what happens in the next corner. That was kind of the idea going in. When I saw the track map, I literally circled the corner after and was like, this is Vince's turn right here. And no, he actually crashed in the whoops, I think second lap or third lap in to the whole day. Then was in a first turn crash because he was far outside. And then the bike didn't run, I don't think, in the third one, and he didn't even go out. So it was an absolute, like, no Vince weekend, which I think we're all a little disappointed in because that's a whole layer of entertainment I think we all were kind of excited for. But you're right. The teams, like, definitely don't accept it. There was a press conference, and they were really comfortable telling Sebastian Tortelli, like, in the press conference, like, we don't believe in this all the way. Dustin Pipes, Uribe, they don't believe in it, but they're kind of just shrugging their shoulders. The reason why I believe is because they don't have someone on the bike that could actually win the race. They got guys that are pretty talented that could get up there and get some recognition, but you put like a Barsha or a really legit 250 potential winner, then I think the teams get a little bit more than just annoyed, because then it becomes a problem where they got a perfect roster for what they're doing. They're introducing the bike with guys that are good enough to get it up there and see how it goes. But I think they're allowing this to happen. This is the teams I'm talking about, and not freaking out too much because there's not a race winner, potential race winner on the bike. So I think that's why it's not a big deal.
I talked to Stark about the DQs. I just said, hey, what was the story with it? They wrote back, yes, it was a technical infringement related to the battery pack's power output. The FIM is right to enforce the regulations and to demonstrate control, especially when so many think our bike is overpowered. That's understandable. Just for reference, we are limited battery power, 54 kilowatts for the SX1, 44 kilowatts for SX2 is what the limits are. He says, for context, when the rear wheel connects with the ground after a jump, you can see a transient energy spike. We operate with defined kilowatt caps and are permitted only a very small energy exceedance up to 0.1 kJ, a measure of energy over time. In practice, we did not exceed the limit. Specifically, on lap 3, we recorded a 0.08 kJ with a lap time of 55.9, which was actually slower than lap 5, 55.2. In other words, the highest spike we saw was not associated with Michael Hicks's fastest lap. His quickest lap remained within the power limit, at least for practice. However, during Super Pole, we recorded and submitted a split-second excess of 0.102 kJ with a lap time of 54.7. So the fastest lap they did in Super Pole had the spike of the power when the bike landed over exceeds the limit that they were given, which we, Stark, reported to FIM and are working to ensure it does not happen in future rounds. So that's the story from Stark on what happened. They exceeded their energy limit on landing off a jump in Super Pole, and they exceeded it one other time, but it wasn't the fastest lap that Hicks did. So they're working on it. Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
And I like that. That has to be there, right? They have to be able to take the little computer thing off, check it, and go and verify to manage this. But so to translate that into horsepower, I believe it's 72 horsepower in the SX1 class against the 450s, and I think it's 59 horsepower against the SX2s and the 250s. So that's the class where I think it could be a bigger problem moving forward, because 59 horsepower against 50 horsepower, 50, 51, whatever in the 250, there's your advantage. Now the weight, I think it's like 25 pounds heavier though. So that's kind of what keeps the bike in check.
That's kind of the math they did, I would bet,
But okay, say you put Barsha or someone like that, or Ferrandis or an Anderson, someone of that level on one, it probably is up there. I mean, it's battling for sure. But you put a legitimate 250 guy, like a legit 250 winner, like a Kitchen type or something like that, you put that in the SX2 on that thing, and I think that thing's winning because it is faster. You saw the starts from Kobush on the outside, Hicks. So if I'm just looking into the future, I don't worry about it as much in the SX1 class because you can't use 72 horsepower really anyway. I mean, maybe at very top end speed on a start, but you're not using that around a supercross track. But 59 in the 250 class, that could be used by the right guy. And so that to me would be the bigger concern moving forward is the power output in that class. Because if you get the right guy on that sucker, you're winning. You could win. You could win on that.
Yeah,
bike.
Ultimately the results will dictate what happens. Like if they start putting good guys, better guys on it, and it starts dominating, then we got to crawl it back, right? And I think they would. I don't think if that happened, WSX would just shrug their shoulders and go, oh, well, like they're going to make it. They're going to find a limit to what works and what is fair to the other teams and competitors. So ultimately the results will tell us all we need to know about that. But again, I applaud WSX for letting the Stark guys do it. Also,
they're trying it. They're trying it,
Yeah.
and they're letting it happen. And it kind of worked itself out properly for the first one. It kind of went how it should, really. It was good, but also had some issues, and they had some technical issues and a DQ. I mean, it kind of worked itself out perfectly.
I've seen the Starks race Paris Supercross 3 years now, and there's nobody. They don't look like they have any sort of advantage at all. Thomas Doe has been on one, and what's your guy, Kellen? Your guy?
What, Kalana Humphrey?
No. Your other guy, the Stark guy. Video game kid. Varese. That's your guy. Varese was on one for a while. Also in Paris. So. Yeah. Also, hey, Lewis brought this up, and it's kind of a good point. Like, look, they have this gate pick thing with Super Pole. You got to be there to pick your gate, otherwise, you get last pick like Deegs. Look, they paid Deegs a lot of money. Switching to this race being 450s was huge. Blah 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 blah. The kid misses his gate pick, probably goes ape shit on somebody, and they hold their ground and continue to give him last gate pick. So props to FIM and the WSX people for, I don't know, not bending the rules, not letting this thing go for the number one attraction of the race. So I think that needs to be said too, That
would have been, I think, a pretty big stink if they would have, because it's like, wait a minute, come on. Like, rules are rules. So they did hold their ground. I don't know the details on what exactly happened, but it worked itself out again. They held the line, and then Hayden, if anything, it gave us more entertainment. The first race, he came from way back, and we got to kind of see him, in a combative state against other riders. And again, he was in a battle with Justin Cooper like most of the whole race. So it kind of just worked itself out, but it could have been a disaster either way. Say Deegan is like, F this, I ain't riding. Or say they say, all right, fine, we'll give you your gate. And then everyone else is like, wait a minute, this guy's not even part of the championship. It's a wild card. And they let what? So it kind of worked.
Listen, I was at a race in Paris where they told Stu, hey, you got to start in the back row. This is how we're doing it for the final main of the night. You got to start in the back row. And Stu got sick conveniently and never raced.
No.
So we've seen this happen before, like the rule changes and big stars and overseas and all of that. By the way, thanks to the folks at Stomp Grip, PulpMX 25 code to save. This is high friction grip tape, exactly where you need it. It's pre-cut, or they have sheets that you can cut yourself, whether it's moto, whether it's off-road, whether it's supercross. Proudly made in the US of A. Stompgrip.com, and check it out. 3D grip tape, piece to piece, wherever you need it. Stompgrip.com. Use the code to save. Alpine Stars, ASV levers, Firepower Maxis, Seat Concept Zools, all on board with us. And, of course, Troy Lee Designs and Race Tech. Thank you to TLD and Race Tech for all that they do for this show. All right, time for TV thoughts here on the Blair Matthes project. So, Kellen, I saw a press release that came out that said Ralph and Daniel are the voices of WSX. I think it said like Fro may be in there, here or there. And our friend Daniel here, he was on a desk in the back corner, didn't really talk all that much, didn't use him that much. I saw Fro just muscle in with Ralph, you know, the good old Laurel and Hardy days. They know each other well. DB, like what happened? Was it the hair?
Did we start on the hair or what? Kellen, you answer first.
Yeah, Kellen. What happened to Daniel here, Kellen? He was just gone.
I'll take it so I could give the accurate information, and then Kellen can have a response to that. But actually, first, let's talk about the hair issue. We're buddies, right? You got my back. I got your back. You got my back. Your tweet was not cool, and there was a lot of pile on after that with the new longer hair look that was approved by my stylist. I actually hired a stylist this year.
What?
My wife.
Okay.
Yeah, my wife. She wanted me to run longer hair. She likes my hair's long. Doesn't like it when it's all cut short and spiky and shaved face and all kind of bougie corporate looking. She wanted me to look comfortable and casual. So I wore a super expensive, nice shirt that was a little loose on me because I've lost a little bit of weight in the last couple of weeks. My weight fluctuates. And yeah, I ran long hair and a beard because that's what I look like now most of the time. And they don't have a dress code like that. It's meant to be casual. I mean, Fro had an Indiana Jones hat on. So like we all like kind of do our own thing. And then, I get on Twitter after the race and I'm like, what are all these comments? And it's you lighting up my hair on the tweet.
I just said you need a haircut. I just said you need a haircut, man. You're on TV.
Yeah, that was a lob for a bunch of spikes down on me on the other side of the court.
The shirt I was wondering about, but I mean, I'm not a huge fashion guy, but the shirt, Kellen, when you saw the shirt, were you a little bit like, hey?
Nice. It's got buttons, dude. It's nice with buttons. And it was expensive, like way more than I normally spend. It was high dollar. It was just a little loose.
I think the problem is that it's just all of it together when you have like a little bit of the ruffly hair and the like 5 o'clock shadow beard and then a loose shirt. It looks like you kind of just rolled out of bed and started doing this.
Thank you. You put it all together. Like we're used to DB, no beard, short hair, hat on, T-shirt on, 99% of the time when I've seen you in the last whatever. And then all of a sudden, like Kellen said, great point, KB, beard, shirt, and hair. Like, whoa.
It's what I look like in real life. I mean, that's what my stylist wants me to look like. And she's in charge, you know? I mean, I manage the family and she manages me.
Okay, man. So, well, listen, I can't be the only guy. I can't be the only guy that said something about the hair. I can't.
No, you're not the only guy. I got a lot of it. I got criticism from a lot of people close to me too. Universally, I think it was unaccepted. But my wife liked it, my mom liked it, and my daughter liked it. And guess what? 1, 2, 3, baby. There's my podium in life. So
I mean, I guess,
the rest of you can just
wait. Where's the boy? The boy's off the podium.
Yeah, he's like a hard charger award.
Okay,
all right. He's in there.
But no. But yeah, I don't. It was a lot to deal with. No one from WSX said anything to you about that look.
I mean, look, it was the first one. Everyone was feeling each other out. All right. There's a lot of new going on. It was a new production company. I'm obviously new to that group. So maybe they haven't said anything. It's, what is it, Tuesday night? I haven't heard anything back yet on my look. They didn't have a problem with it.
What about Fro just coming in and sort of taking your analysis job?
So, all right. So Fro is doing the first 2 rounds. He's a special guest to the series. We have other guests coming later in the series too. But he came into the first 2, and honestly, it was a new group working with an old talent group that had been together, and I'm the new one too. And logistically, it was kind of a weird setup. Like if you noticed, you never saw Ralph once because there was no camera for Ralph's because their comms box was very unique. I've never seen anything like it. All right, They were in this little box thing, calling the racing. And where I was on the desk, it was like this wraparound behind the stand, whatever. So the format comes out and it's, Daniel, you're going to host because I'm the host and analyst. But since Jeff is here, he's going to analyze with Ralph all show. They're legacy guys together. And then I went into the 2 middle races and joined them for a little 3-man booth, and then went back because I was catching people off, and I was the host desk presenter of the whole series kind of guy. So that was this round. This Vancouver's going to be different. And then Australia, I don't even know exactly what that one's going to look like just yet because Jeff won't be there. So no, but that's how it worked. It was logistically kind of difficult. And again, Jeff and Ralph have this forever history. I'm coming in as the new analyst and kind of taking the mantle from here, but Jeff's our guest. So he was involved in every single thing that we did, and he'll be that way this weekend in Vancouver. So that's, that's as simple as it was.
I didn't like it.
And you're not the only one that I had to hear from in my DMs and texts and calls going, what the heck happened? And it was round 1 of 5. We'll be all right. And I'll be in there doing the job that was presented. It was just a unique round 1.
Kellen?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't look too deeply into the whole why is he not in the booth thing. I thought actually the way that the show kind of presented flowed better to have DB in that position because he was good at getting guys to come to the stand and talk and then go into the booth and do his analyst thing, a little bit of both. I think Lewis and I are both in agreement that we would prefer DB over Ralph in play-by-play. I like Ralph, but it was a little rough around the edges at times this weekend. So I think moving forward, we'd prefer that. But if he's going to be there the whole time, then yeah, DB filling in for Emick will be better.
Ralph likes to say light the candles. He really likes to say light the candles.
That's his sign.
He's got to save it. He's got to save that for when it matters, in my opinion.
When they cross the finish, I mean,
no,
whoever won lights the candle. I mean, that's his thing. But
well.
When I originally talked to them about doing the series, I sent demos of both roles of me because I've done a little bit of everything, as you guys know. And essentially, they picked me to be an analyst and be kind of more of an educator because currently I'm a coach. And that's kind of where I reside right now. So I mean, the way I see it is if you're play-by-play, you're the information guy. And if you're the analyst, you're the education guy. And I can do both because I've done them both. But at the moment, I do a lot of educating as a coach. So I think they saw that as a better fit. Keep the voice of Supercross in place. Keep that staple, and then have me be just a new version of an analyst. And then with Jeff there, I mean, what are they going to do? Say, Jeff, thanks for coming, and we'll just hang out. I mean, it's Ralph and Jeff. So to me, I thought it went fine. I got to get in there with them, which obviously is a little bit of a box check for me too. That's something I never got to do before, was work with the voices of Supercross for 15 years. So I actually really, really liked it. And I like the host desk too, because I get to kind of do my interview. I like interviewing too. So I actually feel like I covered a lot of boxes of mine that I like to check. But moving forward, I'll be more in the booth analyzing. That's my main position. And it'll be that way starting this weekend.
I will say, if I could say one thing about that though, the old methodology of like there has to be a guy that only does the information and then a guy that only does the analysis. I think we're starting to move past that in terms of a sports realm anyway, obviously with ManningCast and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I think even for Moto, we see that Paul Malin does an excellent job covering both tasks all the time. And then when JT comes in, he does throw to JT a little bit more as like an analyst. But I will hit back on that, DB, and say that like I think you could totally do play-by-play, still have some of your analysis and bounce stuff off of Jeff or whoever's next to you, and it would be a better product overall. And if I'm WSX, I would lean on that because if you're trying to look forward, that's the way you do it.
And I do agree with that. And I actually think, again, my more natural position is just being an analyst because I'm a racer and I coach. But I learned play-by-play. It's a completely different art. And that's what I think made me a little unique in that role, is because I was a racer too. So I was coming at it from a racer like Paul. I mean, Paul Malin was a racer. So we kind of see the race through the lens of a racer, but then can call it as an announcer. So I do think that's maybe my personal stronger position. But I mean, again, they wanted that presented voice, that legendary voice that Ralph has, and then me to be more of an analyst. So, but who knows? I mean, we're just getting started. It's a new group. I mean, the production company was their first time doing Supercross ever, and we'll see where it goes. But otherwise, I love the group. I mean, Kristen Beat's a good friend of mine, and Ralph and Jeff, that's who was there when I started. So for me to go from like the guy on Race Day Live who was on the ground a little bit to being like with them, again, on the personal fulfillment thing, I'm pretty satisfied with what I got.
One of my favorites part was the CEO of World Supercross said that World Supercross is great. That's also great.
Yeah,
I like that. That was awesome. Breaking news: Pulpamex show host Steve Matthes thinks Pulpamex show is awesome. No, listen, Tom seems like a good guy. I just was like, come on, man. You can't have the CEO of the series coming on talking about how great the series is. I understand promoting the series. I get that, but like, can we get?
You hear from Dana White a lot. I don't know. Is Dana White the CEO? What is he?
No, he's something. He doesn't own it, but yeah, he's president or something. Yeah.
Okay. Well, and this guy, Tom, doesn't own it. He's not the owner. I
know.
But I know what you're saying. But the issue, or I guess the pushback would be, is that he's a good interview. He's like a really good communicator, and he's an energetic figure. And I don't mind it as much as you do, because I really, obviously I like the guy, and I thought he was good on camera. Now, if he came on and was like absolutely like, dude, yank this guy, he's terrible. Yeah. But he's actually he's a great salesman for the series, and he knows the ins and outs. He's the one having to handle all the big stuff. So no, I get what you're saying, but he's pretty cool.
Also want to thank the folks at decalmx.com. PulpMX25 is the code to save. #1 guys for stickers across the board. Red Bull, KTM, of course, Husqvarna Off-Road, decalmx.com. Pulp25 is the code to save with them, and get your graphics done. I just got some graphics done for my new bike, and they look awesome. The guys knocked it out of the park. So they put all their sponsors where you want them. They'll do all the custom graphics and all of that there. And also thanks to the folks at ASV Levers. Speaking of Jeff Emig, they got the Emig Pro Pack going out right now. PulpMX is the code to save, all caps, at asvinventions.com. The innovator of the original unbreakable adjustable motocross lever as well. Please check them out, asvinventions.com. PulpMX code, all caps, to save with them. Email us using the contact form on Pulp, and we'll get you a code to save at Troy Lee Designs, Race Tech as well. Tell them Race Tech guys you listen to PulpMX, and they'll give you a discount on suspension work or motor work. Anything else on WSX, Kellen, before we go, or DB? Did we miss anything? We'll do this next week after Vancouver as well. So
you're going.
All right.
To one. You're going to Australia?
Yeah, I'm going to Paris this weekend, and then I'll go to Australia at WSX. Yeah.
Are you going to AUSX too?
AUSX Open.
Wow, so you're on tour. You're going 3 straight?
I am. I will not be home much in the next little while. So,
wow, dude. All right, I'll see you there.
Yeah. Listen, couple things before we go here on the show. Kellen, anything else about WSX? Sorry. Okay. Listen to LVK for some take from Lewis, who was on the Boots on the Ground. I also did a reaction show, Boots on the Ground.
Journalist of the Year, International Man of Mystery.
It seemed like outside of not having a seat to watch the races, he was okay with the event. Big Lou.
He was pretty chirpy when he was around. He was happy and in the mix and doing his thing. I mean, he's on the move. It's funny because that photo, I forget, it was like early in the year, but that photo makes me laugh of him, like on the move. You guys always post of him.
Yeah.
And whenever
whenever
I see him, I think of that because he does walk alone a lot. He's on the move. The dude doesn't stop moving around really.
A lot of people say that too. They make eye contact with him and he doesn't acknowledge them. And he just keeps walking around. That's a true story. And he did get his white monsters. Yeah, he did get his white monster too, I understand, down there. So as long as he has those white monsters, that makes the baby calm. Okay. Ivan Tedesco promoted to assistant team manager at Triumph. I talked to him today. I got a podcast coming out with Ivan about this move. Scuba Steve stays as the crew chief, or Scuba Steve stays as the manager, looking after the bikes and the modifications and the mechanics. Ivan will move into a role with the riders. Obviously, Faulkner, Jordan Smith, Jalik Swoll, Harrup, all on board there. And I think I like Ivan. I got a lot of time and a lot of respect for Hot Sauce, and I think this is going to work out really well, Daniel.
I do too. I that's a indoor champ, outdoor champ, Motocross of Nations champ, right? He won that too? Did he? Yep. Okay. When you bring in that kind of championship pedigree, there's a lot of experience there. I think that'll be good for the riders. I actually think if he's used on the motorcycle side, obviously he would be great because he's done a lot of testing. And I actually think his 450 career was kind of unfair. Like he always landed on teams when they had new bikes. He was always like the first year guy of a model. And it's like I felt like he never really got to maximize a contract into like when the bikes were good. So I think he's naturally a tester and a developer because he always had to like work on new bikes all the time. So I actually think he'll help in that role. And I hope that he can be a positive influence for my 2 amateur guys. Deacon Deno, who was on Orange Brigade, he's on Triumph. And then Darren Pine, who was on Gas. Those are 2 of my kids. they're the two amateur kids over on Triumph this year. So I really like Ivan, and I love those two kids. So I hope that pairing works out. I think it will. And ultimately, I think it's a good move. I think keeping Styles Robertson, I don't know if we're going to get into that too, but I think that's a good move too. I think Styles is a good kid that had a really bad run of luck that cost him his career. So I think those are great moves and good for Ivan personally and really good for everybody around. I think you'll be positive.
Yeah, I think number one thing for Ivan is there's no ego there. He's not going to walk into the rider lounge and be like, look, when I was battling Carmichael, this is what I did. Yeah. There's no ego there. He's a smart guy. He's going to be able to tell. He knows that bike inside and out, as you mentioned, Daniel. Great pick for those guys, I think, and work with the riders. And he'll lean on analytics. He'll lean on the dartfish stuff. He'll use his experience, and then he also knows the bike. So, really good pickup for those guys. And really Scuba can focus on the mechanics and the bikes too, So good job for the Triumph guys. By the way, I don't know who that second name was you said about the amateur kid. I've never heard that name in my life.
Darren Pine.
Yeah, I've heard of the Deegan kid.
He won the Super Mini, I believe won both Super Mini titles this summer. He was one of my amateur kids on 85s. Okay. He's going from Super Mini to 250B.
That sounds like a made-up name. Pine.
Darren Pine?
Yep.
Like a pine tree? Pine
cone, pine tree, I don't know. But
pine cone? No, he's legit one of the better amateurs out there, and one of the best in his age class. There's a kid named Wyatt Thurman. I think you've maybe heard of him. He's already been in Futures. They're two of the better kids in that age group, and Pine gets the Triumph deal.
I didn't know Triumph had another amateur. I just thought they had a Deegan kid, but
two of them.
Deegan Jones. Deegan Jones was a good player in the 70s.
Oh,
Deacon Jones, remember Deacon Jones, LA Rams?
I was born in '82, bro. I don't know.
Okay, all right. Also, hey, Chase Sexton came on the Pulp MX show, the first interview since the Cowie thing dropped, which we all knew was happening. The PR stuff from Hawaii was fantastic. I can't believe that Dirt Truck was part of that because it was really cool. So I guess I got to give some nods to Monster. It really pains me to do that, but cool idea. Chase loves Hawaii. And he said a 3-year deal, Daniel, on the show, and he's tired of moving around.
Yeah, so I listened to the interview, and it was obviously good. When you catch any rider in the beginning of a new relationship, you're going to get the absolute best out of it. Right. But I will say and I think he was careful on this not to be too excited because he wasn't like, oh, my God. This is amazing. They're amazing, and it's amazing, and I'm amazing.
No,
he didn't really do any of that. He was pretty neutral because I think he's probably a little cautious of like, yeah, you all say that every single time you're on a new team, and it's like the big joke that everyone loves everything right away. But a couple things that stand out. One thing I do want to say, I really hope that he is good because I do have my questions. That team and bike have not been successful in a while, and I do think he's taken a gamble. At a really hard time right now, too, because Hunter's getting better on a bike that's pretty polished. Hayden's coming in soon here, part of that 3-year deal. You're going to deal with him. So you're walking into a really tough chapter competition-wise. So it's a bit of a gamble. But I also think on the positive, or my hope, is that he is really good on it because I think I speak for everybody outside of Jet and his family, and maybe not Hunter. We don't want to see Jet win everything. Like, I don't want to see Jet win every single time. Like, I want him to be beat by people. And Chase is, as of right now, you would say the biggest threat to him if you combine 31 races in and out.
I agree. Yep.
So, I mean, because Hunter's great outdoors, got to learn the indoor stuff better. Eli, we're a little unsure of. So for me, I want it to go really well because I want Jet challenged. But I do think he's asking for a lot out of a team and a program that hasn't really been successful for a while. But here's maybe where things work out because, look, Chase is coming out of a bad divorce. Cowie's coming out of a bad divorce. And sometimes when you find two people that just got through a divorce and it was terrible, they learn things about themselves, they find the new person, and all of a sudden it works because they kind of like learn from where they're bad and they make changes and then they come together and they're good. So to me, there's an opportunity for two people or a group and a rider who are coming out of bad to come together and maybe try to be a little different because Chase has to be different too. He can't put the blame all on KTM. He didn't mesh with them as much as they didn't mesh with him. It's both ways. So, yeah,
I think all three of us know how bad it was with KTM and Chase by the end there. And I guess props to Chase for taking the high road. He didn't want to. I kind of gave him a chance. He didn't it. He didn't want it. Yeah, he didn't want it.
You walked him into it, and he didn't. And then he revealed that it just wasn't a good mesh, which to me, that's pretty mutual. And I think it was mutual. I don't think they're sitting here going, he was great and we were terrible. I think it was mutual. And Cowie too. Cowie can't look at the Prado thing and say we were perfect the whole way through, and Prado definitely can't for sure. So I think both sides are probably looking in the mirror a little bit and going, well, that didn't work. Maybe we try something different. And that's what it's going to take, because if Cowie tries to Cowie Chase or Chase tries to chase Cowie, they're going to get whooped by Jet. So the only way it works is they actually do get along and listen to each other, and the chemistry's there, because when the chemistry's gone, it all is gone. And so I hope it works, because we honestly need it to work.
Kellen, what'd you think of the interview?
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was fairly politically correct with a lot of things. Obviously, things are great, and he doesn't want to.
Because he is a good interview. He's normally a great interview, and that one was a little PC. Yes, that was a little PC.
But he was protective a little bit.
Yep,
he was protective. I think it's interesting how much he's talked about his like mindset of wanting a reset of everything, like just kind of wash the slate clean and restart and all this stuff like that. Because I don't know, if you look back over the last 3 or 4 years, things have gone pretty well, all things considered, even though it maybe doesn't look aesthetically that great with his fractured KTM relationship. Like, he's almost won 3 of the last 4 titles. He's been really close a lot of times around, with race wins and battling Jet and getting close. So like, I feel like he needs to kind of use some of what he's already accomplished as motivation for why things are going to be even better right now. And I feel like he's kind of not. Maybe that's just the way that he motivates himself, is like wipe the slate clean and then get my mindset in the right direction. But it feels weird that he's not like more up on his own, kind of resume.
Yeah, I think he was, like Daniel said, I think he's like, hey man, if I come in there and just try to snow everybody, I think he feels like the perception of the fans are like, okay, Chase. All right,
and he sets the bar really high then if you're going to come in talking that way. And to back up what Kellen said, and these are 2 races, I say it every chance I get because it needs to be known. 40 to first at Hangtown is one of the best rides we've seen on outdoor. I mean, I'd put it up on the top 10 list of all time. He went from last to first. And then MetLife this year, he absolutely worked Webb
Didn't
and everyone
he crash
else.
again in that race? I think he crashed again in that 40 to first. He fell twice.
Did he go down twice?
I thought he lost the front end just picked it back up, or maybe not, but okay.
Maybe, but either way, that's incredible. And you don't do that on a crap bike that you hate.
Right.
And then he also, this year in Supercross, he won the race in MetLife in one of the biggest beatdowns. I think if you looked at the math and the time of victory, is one of the biggest wins in Supercross in a long, long time too. And that was this year in a title that he should have won. Don't forget, Arlington was on him. It wasn't on KTM. That was his mistake at that Triple Crown that really sent the whole thing spiraling. So I as much as he was unhappy and uncomfortable and never liked it, you still got to look at the past relationship there and go, dude, you had some of the best rides in the last 10 years in the sport on a bike that you apparently hated. And that's really hard to sell to everybody. So to me, again, maybe it was just caught him at a bad time in his life where he was not getting along with people, not getting along with them, maybe in his own battles, whatever. But whatever it is, he's getting to press restart. He is doing 3 years, like he said, which that's probably better because, dude, you ain't getting out of that. Well, I mean, you can get out of it. Prado had a 3-year deal.
I know you can get out of
that.
Hey, did you guys all like the Hawaii thing? Did you all thought that was pretty cool? I mean, it was,
Loved
right?
it.
Yeah. So
Loved it.
I don't know. Maybe I didn't have my glasses on or my contact in when did the release drop early in the morning? I don't remember, but I shouldn't even admit this. But it drops, and then I'm scrolling through my phone, and the one photo, I'm like, damn, that looks like Hawaii. I didn't really look at the other ones. And I put in the group text. I think I did in the LVK group. I don't know. I'm in 14 group texts, but in some group, I'm in 45 group texts, I should say. In some group texts, I'm like, dude, that looks like Hawaii, that one photo. And yeah, but they all were from Hawaii, you idiot. Like, I thought, I was like, damn, dude, SoCal, where would they have shot that? Because that looks like Hawaii.
It's all green.
Where that doesn't look like Corona or Temecula or anything.
I mean, there's Photoshop and AI now. You could put them anywhere if you wanted to.
And then it was like, and then I like looked at the other photos and I'm like, oh yeah, they're all.
Oh
like,
man,
it was not one of my prouder moments where I actually told someone that looks like Hawaii.
Dude, for all you meme gods out there, you could have cut him out and put him at the KTM test track and put that online. Couldn't you imagine?
Have you guys seen this AI shit with Prado and a KTM like on Instagram? His face there complaining about
I saw the one of Eli Tomac being like 7 foot tall on a KTM with monster logos on his jersey and a goggle with just straps. Did you get Kellen? Yeah, you saw that one?
No, I didn't see that. That's just bad Photoshop. But there's an AI of Jorge going to the Cowie truck in his KTM gear and complaining about Chase's bike being better. And like it looks so. It's just we are screwed, dude, in this time of because no one actually knows what's real and what's not. So, all right, let's wrap this thing up. What?
They need to do more of that, though, with these press releases. And I thought Eli's the next day, which is funny, it was the next day, was good, too. I mean, KTM always does theirs at their place, but they do it in a cool way. But Chase's release goes down as one of the better ones ever because of the green scenery, the bike, the whole thing. I mean, we all knew it was happening. And
dude, they shipped a factory bike. They didn't just throw forks on a production. Like, they shipped a factory bike and everybody. Yeah,
that's rad. But think about this. Everyone knew that was coming out. No one was shocked by that, right? Except for the few people that thought Tomac was maybe going back there. There's a few, there's a few of them. But if the whole industry knows, and then you're going to come out with a press release, and it's just going to be like, you have to kind of go big and like shock. That's where we're at now. So when any of these riders in the future are doing their release, you got to do something rad like that. Otherwise, it's not that impactful because we already know. So to me, for something I already knew, wasn't a big deal. We already knew it. That popped hard. So I got to give them a lot of credit for that. That was well done. That's how the standard should be for all the top guys.
I got a question, and maybe you can speak to this from the team side of like with Club DB, but whatever happened to like team videos? Like you would introduce the team, but it would be like these cool collaborative, like we're throwing whips together and I don't know, having like more fun and stuff. Like they would be at the test track doing these like hip jumps and stuff because that kind of went away in Supercross and Motocross, but then you still saw it at MXGP until like the last 6 or 7 years ago. But like, I just, you don't see that anywhere anymore.
Yeah. We did that at Yamaha, all three guys, doing jumps. And
it's become more individual a little bit. And like Marchbanks has came out too, but you're right. It's become more individual. I will tease this for the future. But, Club has their open house every year, end of October. And our roster, everyone knew about already. Everyone knew Yoder was going to be there and Simonson, and we had Schock and Volan. But next year, we will be announcing our team at the open house. We are going to be everyone's signing NDAs. No one's going to know who's on the team until they roll out. And we're probably going to live stream it on YouTube and bring all the riders out in like a live presentation. And it's going to be kind of an unveiling. So next year, Steve, I will not be able to tell you who's going to be on the team. You'll find out at the Club open house live on YouTube, and you're invited.
You really don't think we're going to find out people in the industry?
They'll be fired people then because NDAs are going out. The riders too.
Right.
Like, guess what? Your first check won't come. You'll lose your first check if you tell anyone other than your mom and dad, and if they tell anyone, you lose your check too. So,
and you get formally put away in a foster home. Okay, Troy Lee Designs, Race Tech, Blair Matthes Project. Paris thoughts this weekend? Jet, Malcolm, Hunter, Coop, Vial.
Vial, obviously, because it's new. I like new.
Yep.
I want to see that. So I can't wait to see that. I will tell you my interest is in Hunter because I do think it's time for Hunter to take the leap. And maybe he can't, but enough second place, enough being the other brother. I think it's time for Hunter to take the leap, especially indoors, and I want to see what he looks like here. And if he is close, equal, and if he beats Webb and Malcolm and like really is more Jet than them, then it tells me that Hunter is close to taking the leap that I think does need to come this year. So
he won one last year and ran with Jet last year. Obviously not full track and everything else, but yeah, we saw that a little bit.
I want more of it. I mean, personally, I'd like him to beat him. As I said earlier, I want Jet getting beat, and Hunter would be fine with me. I don't care if it's the other Lawrence, just someone beat Jet.
Kellen, what intrigues you about Paris, if anything?
I'll be honest, like Jet and Hunter and Webb and all, like, I don't think I'm going to learn anything this weekend that we don't already know. So I kind of don't care. Like, I want to watch and it's going to be exciting, but I'm so interested about Vial because in the next day or two, we're going to get a team announcement of him being on HRC and MXGP. And then I was talking to Lewis about this and I'm like, this doesn't makes sense why he wants to keep doing Supercross when it doesn't matter for the next 2 or 3 years of his life. But Lewis says that like he has a chip on his shoulder to prove everybody wrong and like go out there and battle with these guys this weekend and all this stuff. So
he's getting $100,000. He's getting $100,000 to race this race. That's why he's racing it.
But apparently, like he also is kind of pissed off that nobody else raised their hand and said, "Hey, we'll pay you $1 million to race 450 Supercross." So
right.
Can I make a prediction?
Sure.
I want you to remember it right now. Tom Vial will be back in 2 to 3 years in the U.S. on a factory 450 team riding Supercross. That's why. Because when Eli and Kenny and Jason and Bam and Malcolm and the whole 30 club turns over, he's going to fit right back in with the 450 class because there's Triumph, there is Ducati, there's going to be a lot of teams and a lot of rides in 2 years. Tom will be back in the U.S. riding 450 Supercross in 2 to 3 years.
Not a crazy take. Not at all.
And that's why he's doing it. I think it's more for the future and the cash. Duh. I mean, you're right, Steve. $100,000. Yeah. But he's also, I think, laying down some early foundation and keeping that alive because he will be back.
All right, there we go. Thanks, everybody, for watching and listening. Thanks to the Fraud for producing this thing. Daniel, good job on the desk. Let's get you in the booth ASAP up there in the World Supercross. Enjoy Vancouver. Try some poutine. Try some Hawkins cheesies. If you need anything else, I'm a text away. Canadian advice. But it's a cool city. Cool stadium.
I would like compliments on Twitter on my look this weekend. Regardless of how you feel, like you owe me one. So positive because you got way too much response on that. I was really disappointed in the response because you got a lot of support, and I felt like I look like myself. Everyone, you all dissing me because that's what I look like. So
it's not the band life anymore, man. Main event moto's over, DB.
Main event moto's alive. Main event is dead.
Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching and listening. Appreciate it. And until next week, see ya.